shit.
Dark sides of living in Switzerland. One of the countries folks are thronging in search of a greener pasture is Switzerland. Frankly speaking, the country, set in the heart of Europe, is actually a gem twinkling with breathtaking landscapes and a rich tapestry of life experiences among others. However, the saying, "not all that glitters is gold," is absolutely true in the country, flaunting its allure of Swiss chocolate and stunning Alpine vistas. This is what we shall be discussing in this video about the dark sides of living in Switzerland. If you have seen our videos about the pros and cons of living in this country, you'd agree that what we are discussing in this video is in addition to the downsides of living in Switzerland. 1. Individualist culture. Let's begin this with a discussion of the culture of this country. Please keep in mind that it's somewhat difficult to adjust to the rigidness of the Swiss culture. This is one of the things that might make settling in the country quite tough for a beginner. You have to remember the country's reserved social culture while thinking about this. Yes, Swiss people have a reputation for being reserved. This can throw up a kind of culture shock, since it's likely to be the direct opposite of what most of us are used to. While English is spoken by a considerable number of the people in the country, there are other national and local languages that you might have a learning curve with. Meanwhile, Switzerland is deliberately slow to make changes to its individualist culture. They also have traditional views. It's not as if this will eject you or that it'll definitely harm you physically, but the reality you have to face is that this is one of the dark sides of living in Switzerland that you have to live with. 2. Difficult to make friends. Corollary to what was just mentioned, it's difficult to make friends in Switzerland. It's going to be a sorry case for extroverts. The reserved social culture of the country makes it challenging for newcomers to interact with others and integrate into the local community. And once this is not easy, it'll be difficult to make friends. Since you aren't going to be known or noticed by the local people, it'll take longer for them to extend the hand of fellowship to you. So while thinking about living in Switzerland, you need to plan your way against loneliness. Even if you're moving down with your family, your kids will need to be purposely insulated against this situation. Pending that time, they'll later warm up to you. You just have to be by yourself. You and your household might eventually have a great community of friends to hang out with. 3. Sunday shutdown. Another dark side of living in Switzerland that is hardly noticed is the way Sunday is treated in the country. The day is considered a rest day. Who knows whether the country incorporates the tenets of the ancient Mosaic law? Due to this Sunday shutdown in Switzerland, pretty much everything is closed. But this can be explained in a positive light. To Swiss citizens, the work-life balance is important and cannot be traded for anything. Sunday shutdowns aren't only for resting, but also days to spend with families. You might actually still find some retailers that open small convenience shops, perhaps at gas and train stations or elsewhere. Also in the morning, you can find some bakeries, coffee shops, and restaurants attending to those needing their product and services. Realizing, however, that on Sundays, almost everything is closed off should prompt you to easily go around and plan your life around it. 4. Renting can be difficult for foreigners. This is a serious matter to consider carefully while planning your move to Switzerland. You're certainly not planning to be sleeping under bridges, even if it is allowed. Unfortunately, there's not much land available to build houses in the country, especially close to attractive cities. While looking for a place to stay, bear in mind that less than 40% of the population are homeowners. By the way, foreigners aren't allowed to buy a home in Switzerland unless they first obtain a residence permit. Even at that, it's not automatic. It's equally difficult to rent furnished properties. Most foreigners will settle for unfurnished homes and bear the accompanying inconveniences. To rent a home, you need to have a Swiss bank account. And to open a bank account, you must have proof of a lease. Imagine the bottleneck and bureaucratic processes making it tough for a foreigner to settle down. 5. Too many laws and rules. In Switzerland, there are too many laws and rules. They are so also rigid and strict. In fact, you have a lot of rules you have to adjust to, as there are rules for everything. Most people find getting used to these do's and don'ts tough in the beginning, and frustration can quickly set in. Consider, for example, the Sunday shutdown mentioned earlier. Remember the purpose of that day? It is considered a rest day. So the law also prohibits loud noises that could be considered a kind of noise pollution to the people around you. So the rule is, you have to keep all music and conversation as low as possible. Still, on Sunday shutdowns, while commercial activities are at their low ebb, it is also the case for hanging your laundry or mowing your grass. One day, we'll tell you more about the strange rules and laws in Switzerland. For now, however, it suffices to state that these many laws and rules are among the dark sides of living in Switzerland. One quick key is discerning the spirit of these laws and rules. It'll be easier to comply. 6. Driving sucks in Switzerland. If you're going to be driving your personal car in Switzerland, you need to consider one of these dark sides of living in Switzerland. Driving in this country sucks. It can be challenging for those from different climes. Road conditions make it even more challenging. Driving in the mountains and rural areas is nothing to the Swiss drivers, often on narrow, winding roads with, and sometimes, on steep drop-offs and no guardrails. This demands complete attentiveness from drivers. Another challenge is that, wherever and whenever you're driving, you have to put your lights on. Yes, all the time. But the use of crosswalks can be strange to you. In Switzerland, the pedestrian practically owns the road. Of course, on most main roads in many big cities, you see cars stopping for pedestrians to cross unless they're in a crosswalk. On smaller roads, however, people always have the right of way no matter where they are crossing. 7. Swiss are slow. Another dark side of living in Switzerland that you have to deal with is the notion that the Swiss are slow. The country as an entity is often viewed as being boring. Well, this depends on where you're coming from, so there has to be a balance somewhere. Some parts of Switzerland are a bit to the extreme the other way. One is left to occasionally wonder what goes on behind those locked doors and opaque window blinds. 8. Expensive childcare. Raising families can present another dark side of living in Switzerland. According to UNICEF, the country's childcare is the fourth most expensive in the world. The government of the country is working on a crucial package of financial subsidies, which costs about $590 million a year, with the aim of reducing the cost of parents. A study of childcare in rich nations conducted in 2021 by UNICEF concluded that Cyprus, the US, and Slovakia are the only places with more unaffordable childcare. A couple with average wages would need to spend about a third and a half of their salary to foot the bill for their two children's childcare. That's why parents in the country rely heavily on informal care. Others resort to care provided without remuneration by friends, relatives, or neighbors. 9. Dining out is very expensive. At least, you'll spend the first few days as an expat in the country dining out. This can be very expensive in Switzerland, making the move to this country a matter of serious thought. Feeding yourself in Switzerland is certainly a pricey endeavor. However, the blow is softened by the exceptional quality of food products. If after settling down, you choose to be cooking at home, you need to realize that monthly groceries can run between $450 and $680 per person for basic items. But the real treat is dining out. Yet, it can quickly drain your wallet. An average restaurant meal costs around $28 to $45 per person. Now, it's your turn to further this discussion. Please, let's continue it in the comments section by telling us what you consider a dark side of living in Switzerland. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.